I was just talking about stocks being pricey right now. Certainly mega cap tech names have led the charge in terms of the recent records. Where do you still find value?
I mean, we recently upgraded Google on January 6th. We actually don't find the stock to be particularly demanding from a valuation perspective. We had a price target based on 12 times EBITDA. It's pretty impressive given the size of the company, growth rates that they're putting up, and saw multiple ways that we think you can win with the stock, particularly calling out the regime shift under Sundar, where we think there's a big opportunity for for him to really change his relationship with the street.
John, you're really bullish on Google as well. Is this the year, is 2020 the year where Google becomes a much more meaningful or significant player in cloud and starts getting lumped in with the names like AWS and Microsoft?
Yeah, I really think so. So they scored, a nice little win with Lufthansa. I just see them popping up, scoring more wins with, Fortune 500 companies, not just for, test and development, but for mission critical applications, more mission critical applications, which really puts them on the footing with the competitors, Amazon, AWS, and Microsoft Azure. One little aspect that I think they're really starting to differentiate on, it's a big aspect over time, is AI, their TensorFlow developer community, which is always a really good leading indicator, is really taking off. People doing some very, very interesting things, and that could really differentiate them if they establish that as a platform and an ecosystem for developing AI and cognitive computing applications.
John, it's interesting to hear you talking about AI where Google and Alphabet is concerned, given the op-ed we got from Sundar Pichai over the weekend, the comments in Europe as well, basically calling for more regulations around things like facial recognition. What could that do to that company? And I guess, could that be something that long-term is actually positive if there's more rules of the road?
Yeah, I've always thought with data privacy specifically, I think that if the industry could come up with some things that they can agree on and some rules to play by, I think that they can make consumers more comfortable with it, businesses more comfortable with it, and everybody's it's all transparent. Everybody knows if they do if they click on this, they're giving up this data and they can be resold, or they can make that choice to not do so. I think that catalyzes the market because I think people mostly are just a little afraid of what their of what their data is going to be used for, and legitimately so. You make that more clear, I think then opportunity gets created.
Mike, you guys are normally pretty candid about when things are too expensive. Is there a name in your universe where you like the prospects, but the valuation, the multiple is like, it's no more, no mas?
I mean, we haven't really rolled forward our price targets yet. We'll probably be doing that later this week. And the only one that I would point to, but I would say I think people are looking at it the wrong way, is Snap, where I feel like a lot of folks will look at it on a DCF basis and say it's hard to make it work above 2021. I think the thing that's compelling to us, we've spent a lot of time with the management team. They've talked about a goal of basically getting to Twitter level of monetization on an ARPU per DAU basis. So if I roll forward that parity comment, I could see more like $7 billion versus the street at 4.8 in 23. I could see an EBITDA number of more like 2.9 billion versus 1.6. So like I look at it from that context and I'm like, you know what, this isn't that expensive of a stock. This could be 29, 30 bucks.
The technicians have been looking at the breakout, which is pretty impressive. I wonder, is it a share story regarding Twitter or is it something else?
With in terms of share, I think it's just basically a real 180-degree turn with regards to the management team. In terms of having Jeremy Gorman as the chief business officer, who to me is incredibly impressive. You've got CFO who's in from Amazon. Like just, one of the things that they shared with me in a meeting is like we can actually recognize and we understand what great looks like. And this is a very, very different tenor than talking to this company 18 months ago. So I think they've got just remarkable momentum at their back.
John, I want to get your thoughts on Snap, too, because you got a sell rating here.
Yeah,
I'm assuming you don't agree?
Yeah, well, I've certainly seen some signs of, reasons to be a little more optimistic. The problem is when you have the management turnover that they've had, and then you have a couple of, not bad execution quarters, right? But you have to put that in historical context. There have been a lot of, not so great execution quarters and real misses. I would like to see this new management team, and largely new, get a little more consistent, narrow, focused on profitability. I think they really need to show that there is more operating leverage in this business than they have been able to demonstrate. I think those are the kind of things which would make me, less fearful of the catastrophic possibilities, because Snap certainly has this very large outcome, cone of outcomes that could possibly happen. A lot of them are on the upside, but there's a lot of downside risk that is very plausible. So that's, kind of when you average all that out, I'm still on the sell, but, definitely a company that's innovative and one to keep an eye on.